Okay, all right. Well, thank you for having us. It's really interesting as an artist and a designer to see how other researchers in other fields are perceiving artworks. So we wanted to share a project called the Pellaton Experience. But first, I would like to say 2 words about the context of that commission project. So we are both working at the Basel Academy of Art and Design, and the project actually took place in our institute, inside our institute. So Basel Academy of Art and Design is part of the University of Applied Science and Arts, and there are several institutes, and ours is called Institute for Digital Communication Environments. We have several BA and MA programs. We also do research, and we have a continuing education department. And we work in different labs, and we conduct a lot of research projects. Here is a non-exhaustive list. And one of the lab is called the Andico Lab. So some visuals while I'm talking. So Andico Lab is an acronym for Analog Digital Communication Lab. And it's a place where we can work with companies and public institutions. So if you have, or if you want to get some help with your information design or data visualization, we are here. You can always reach us. Really nice images from the school. And in 2021, was it? Yeah. The Andico Lab, I forgot to mention that it's under the supervision of our colleague Bénédicte Yagi. So he was contacted by the SAPA Foundation. So SAPA stands for Swiss Archive of Performing Arts. And as you can read on their website, they collect, document, archive, and promote works in the field of the performing arts, the dance, theater, performance, that have been produced in Switzerland or are related to Switzerland. And that's the building. And so I will let Léna talk more about the brief for the commission.
Yeah, thank you. So, as we already heard today, it's notoriously difficult to archive the performing arts. So besides collecting video and prints and all that, SAPA started to conduct oral history interviews with people who are really knowledgeable on what is going on in Switzerland. So when it comes to dance. And they have now like a huge amount of videos and interviews that hold a lot of knowledge, but it's very inaccessible. So they came to us kind of with the problem of what do we do with 15 hours of video interviews? How do we make that accessible, both to the general public, but also to researchers who might have very specific things they look for. So it was an interdisciplinary team of people from SAPA and the Basel Academy, as well as master students who are in our course and helped with a kind of really broad brainstorming of how we go about this problem, as well as a developer, Silvan Hahn. So the heart of the project is Ursula Pellaton. She is a Swiss dance journalist, and she has a vast knowledge on Swiss dance history. And they conducted about, it's 4 interviews of between 3 and 4 hour long. And there is a lot of knowledge in there, but it's very difficult to sit through 4 hours of video. So they asked us to develop some kind of tool or website to make this searchable and kind of, yeah, just how do we deal with this big amount of data? And we started kind of in 2 different ways. One was there was a hackathon that we took part in that was more on the technological side of how can we process the videos, how can we get keywords out of it, how do we get all the annotation. And there was also a more broad brainstorming of like, how can we have gestures on a website, how can we design a website that has something to do with dance. This was the hackathon outcome. So it didn't look very nice, but it was already kind of the base technology that came out of that is what we used in the end product. I don't know if the video works. Yes. And as I said, we then also just very generally thought about how can we design a website for dance and for dance history. What metaphors can we use? What gestures? What interactions are make sense in this type of project? And we came up with 3 design kind of prototypes to visualize a lot of data and make it accessible.
In terms of technical specifications, so as Léna already mentioned, there was a developer involved, Sylvan Ahn. And interestingly, it was before AI was really in the game. So he used a Python library to extract the location names and events and to add timestamps to the video and structure the data. So it was a very simple starting point, let's say, and then everything was uploaded on a public repository for the hackathon. And the website was developed also with very simple languages, such as JavaScript. So he used D3.js, so it's a JavaScript library to have the interaction. Léna will go more into detail later. And on the positive side, it means also that the project as it is today don't need any update and is very low in maintenance. So, yeah.
Yeah, and for the design part, we decided on, went through different iterations as always, but there's a mobile version, of course. But the core concept is that we have a circle that represents these 4 interviews, and the circle also acts as the navigation. So going into the website, there's a word cloud with categories that then each category has keywords. And you see the circle and the white dots. Each dot is a mention of one of those keywords. And actually one of the main manual works was to find out which categories are relevant within this topic and which keywords can we use. Because if there's too many, then it's not really usable anymore. The navigation does not work. So there's a very specific amount of keywords that is manageable. And each keyword then takes you to a specific point in the video. You can switch between them. You see what video it belongs to. There's a transcript and additional information. There was also the idea to link that to the SAPA archive, which is very extensive. But again, there was copyright issues. So because they don't have all the rights for all the documents that they collect. So it is now just linked to databases like Wiki Commons. Yeah, and there's just more information on the website about the general context of the project. And for kind of how to go further, I think, we also think of it a bit as a prototype that can be used for other interviews, for other types of oral history, because the natural language processing, or even if you would use AI to get the timestamps and the keywords, it can be applied to many different types of videos, we think, and it's just a way to make videos more easily accessible and searchable and browsable, yeah. So that's it from our side. We're very happy to have questions and feedback.
All right. So do we have some questions? Actually, I would like to ask something. I kind of really, I like this circle that you are showing here. And you said that you are kind of focusing on kind of like certain kinds of, you know, data visualizations. So I wanted to ask how is the process of creating data visualizations going on in your lab, and how did you come up with this particular circle? Because it seems to me quite intuitive, so that even if I wouldn't have ever watched those films, I think that, you know, it would be very interesting to click through these little dots and to see what kinds of like keywords there are. So can you describe this a little bit more? Thanks.
Design process.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we started really, really broad, maybe too broad even, of really thinking how can you deal with a lot of data, and what is a fun, intuitive way, both to just jump in there, have like someone who doesn't know anything maybe about dance history, have like maybe some playful engagement, and to really get people to interact with it and understand like what is happening, and not have them lost just in the huge amount of points. But also then how is it usable for researchers who maybe they really just want to know what Mary Wigman did in the 50s. So like, yeah, we just tried different ways of allowing these different accesses. And the circle, I mean, it's been 2 years. Yeah, it was just one of the different ways of visualizing. And we had also like have a cloud with many dots, have like dots for categories, and somehow it made sense to have a big dot with smaller dots.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I know some of the people on the project, Julio Varen, things. Does it link to some of the resources on the SAPA, the rest of the archive?
It was originally planned, but now there's some of the keywords they have like visuals, and as I said, it links to the. Oh, this is not the website. Huh? It links to some other databases, but not to the extent that we planned to. Sadly, yeah.
Thank you. So I was wondering what was the feedback of the SAPA archives, and if they plan maybe to have it for the whole archives of the SAPA Foundation.
The feedback, do you know?
Well, I mean, the people who worked on this project are not working anymore with SAPA. Well, when we talked to Benedict, he said that they found it very interesting, and the developer also said that it could be easily adapted to other kind of projects. So there is a chance that we continue to work with them, but is it really unsure? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, like the core team from SAPA side found other things to do, but I think it's there's still hopes for further developing the tool, which I think both from how the video is processed to also the design, like of course it can be further improved and worked on.
We have time for one more quick question, if somebody has. Okay, please join me to thank Bérénice and all right, and the fifth presentation we have.